Little children, keep yourselves from idols, false gods, from anything and everything that would occupy the place in your heart due to God, from any sort of substitute for Him that would take first place in your life. Amen. So let it be. 1 John 5:21. Hey there. This is your spiritual alignment coach and mentor, Cortney Browning. Welcome to another episode of Unhindered Woman. Are you ready for some #real talk that will inspire and serve you, my high-achieving Christian sister? A conversation that will deepen and personalize your relationship with God by revising the routine scripts you've been taught about Christianity. This is not to be a replacement for professional counseling and/or legal advice. Hey sis, grab your hot beverage of choice along with your journal and pen, and let's get into it. Here we are, guarding our hearts, right? Guarding our hearts. Why? Solomon told us we are to guard our hearts above all else, for out of it flow the issues of life. So we are doing a part 2 here on idols. Recently there was a conversation with other women in business that we were talking about some things, and idolatry came up in a way that I hadn't thought about in a long time, and that is self-idolatry. You may even hear it differently. How about self-centeredness? Remember, 1 Peter 5:21 tells us, little children, keep yourselves from idols, false gods, from anything and everything that would occupy the place in your heart due to God, from any sort of substitute for Him that would take first place in your life. Amen. So let it be. 1 John 5:21. Anything and everything that occupies the place in our hearts that are due to God are also considered a substitute for Him that would take first place in our lives. We can do that, right? We can put ourselves in that position where we would be the ones occupying the place due in our hearts and making ourselves a substitute for Him, giving ourselves first place in our life above God. You know, as business owners, that's so easy to do, I think, because it's our business, right? We can be the one, we're the CEO, you know, all the titles, right? If you're a solopreneur, you're everything. You're your advertiser, you are your accountant, you are your chief executive officer, you're it, tag you're it, right? And it would be very easy to edge God out, not even give Him an opportunity to get a word in edgewise. And what we don't realize is we become self-centered. You know, that can show up in different areas in your life. It can show up in your finances. Your finances are, going to all things you. Things that you love, things that you want to do, things that are exciting to you, things that you think or feel are necessary. And what if God were to put His finger on that and say, no? Would you be willing to do that? Could you do that? It would also show up in relationships. It can show up in how you are handling your clients. Are you loving them well? Are you patient? Are you kind? Or are you listening to be heard so that you can get a word in and they can't get a word in? It shows up in relationships. It shows up in your dealings. Do you have honest dealings? Has money become more of a priority? You know, 1 Timothy 3, let me see if I can find that really quick. I'll read that to you. Sorry, 2 Timothy 3. It talks about that people will be lovers of self-centered, lovers of money, and have an inordinate, greedy desire for wealth. You know, if the word is telling us that this is a sign of the last days, in my opinion, it's also letting me know that this is going to be a very great temptation for us to resist. And I mean, look at the world in which we live in right now. Is it not about, dominantly when you see things on social media and you're out and about? Is it not about wealth? Is it not about you do you? That kind of thinking. And yet, wow, if you're going to live a life surrendered and submitted to God, it is really not about you do you. It is really not about being all about yourself above all else and above God. And so I just wanted to bring that to the table as well, that we should be very, very alert to, are we also the thing that we have on a pedestal higher and above God? You can tell by the decision making that you're making. What does God have his finger on that he wants you to yield and surrender, and you haven't yet? That's pride. And pride, simply put, says, I know better. And I can do this better. Humility says, I need you, God. And so whatever you ask me to do, I say yes. It may not make sense to me. It truly, if we're honest, we would say, I really don't want that. And yet, at the end of the day, who knows better for us? Us? I'm going to say for me, no way. I don't know better for me. If I did, I would be in a much better state than I am right now. So I'm going to say God knows better. And it would do us great good to humble ourselves before him. And so with that, think about it. Reflect on the areas in your life and your business, right? So in your life, your personal relationships. Are you listening to be heard, or are you listening to understand? Your relationship with God. Are you being with him to be with him, or are you before him for yourself without even giving him an opportunity to have a word with you? Look at your time. How's your time? Where are you spreading your time? Is it all on the things that you feel are important, or is it balanced where you've got God time, family time? You should be serving in your local church, right? And your business and all other things. It will show up in your finances. Look at your finances. How are you delegating your finances? It should also reflect, it should also reflect in your business. How are you doing all things business? Are you doing them with integrity? Are you doing them with character? Or are you doing them in such a way that it benefits you above all else? And you can see that there's greed. You can see that, are you tithing in your business? That's a thing. It's a discipline. It's a spiritual discipline. Jesus, it's spoken about in the Word, Old and New Testament. It's interesting because, I'm just going to leave that alone. It's in the Word, and it is a thing to do. And that is where there is a layer of protection and blessing that comes with tithing. And so it's a thing. It's a thing to consider. I'm not going to push it on anyone. And yet I just can tell you, I know that it pleases God for us to bless his house. That's what the tithe is supposed to be used for, right? It is to take care of his house. Just like you need to take care of your home and pay for all the utilities and all the repairs, that's what the tithe is supposed to be used for by the church. So if you want a building to be able to go to worship God and to meet with other like-minded believers, then why not honor God by taking care of his house? So evaluate all those areas and see where you stand. If you see that you have a propensity for self-centeredness, there is grace and there is much love extended to you so that you can see yourself walk above that and live a life that is so Christ-centered and see God do great things in your life. Until next episode. Thank you so much for joining me in this episode of Unhindered Woman. My hope is that you feel seen, known, and loved by God. This podcast is here to serve and inspire you. To explore more on how to work with me, to find out what I'm up to and where you can find me on social media, click on the links shared in the description of this podcast. I'd love and appreciate it if you give me a quick review in this app that you're listening in through. Don't forget, subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already. Talk with you soon, friend.